Community Bank Freshwater. With 20 years of experience and a team of locals, you can feel confident with your money being handled locally and backed by Australia's 5th largest bank, the only one able to make that grassroots connection. Meet Casey and the team at Community Bank Freshwater and find out how you can help the bank that supports you and supports your Manly United FC. Want the best in electrical appliances and entertainment?
That won't help. There we go. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Manly Sealing has frightened visitors to the Northern Beaches on 3 separate occasions, piling 5 goals past hapless opponents here. The contrast, though, has been stark. A 2-0 loss at Wanderers Football Park will stick in the craw of Patrick Svansvik. You getting input? Stick in the craw of Patrick Svansvik. Who knows, his side are capable of plenty more. A consistent run, they could yet find themselves as surprise contenders for silverware. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Manly United versus APIA Leichhardt live on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. La 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 la.
Matronics is one of the largest technology equipment in Australia and have just celebrated their 30th year. With 18 offices across Australia, they are able to cover everything you need for your place of business.
1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2,
1-2. To video conferencing and digital screen, Matronics will have you covered for all your IT needs and services. Find out more at www.matronics.com.au.
1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2.
Proud supporters of your Manly United.
Yes, good evening everybody. Welcome to Cromer Park for a top 6 tussle on Good Friday in the NPL New South Wales men's 6th place. Manly United hosting free scoring APIA Leichhardt. Tonight's winner boasting a safety net in the fight for finals as we approach the midway points of the season. Alex Molchanoff along with you for long weekend football on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. This evening, a very warm welcome to you wherever you're tuning to join us from this evening. Despite the latter positions, 5th and 6th coming into the night, it's been an inconsistent start to 2025 for both these sides. The ceiling has frightened visitors to the Northern Beaches on 3 separate occasions, piling 5 goals past hapless opponents. The contrast, though, has been stark. A 2-0 loss at Wanderers Football Park will stick in the craw of Patrick Svansvik, who knows his side are capable of plenty more. A consistent run, though, and they could yet find themselves as surprise contenders for silverware this season. APIA expect nothing less than to be in that silverware conversation, but a topsy-turvy start of their own has seen them slip back from the premiership contenders. No questions about their attack, though. Boosted by 2 Beaches favourites, Saya Kambiashi took Manly to a grand final back in 2022. His return to the attacking midfield role he made his own at this ground, as APIA are on track to break the all-time record for goals in a single New South Wales top division season with 33 through their first 10 games. Jordan Segredo, a junior here from under-14s, is also going from strength to strength in his second season in Maroon as part of this much vaunted attack. Franco Parisi will be opening that. Familiarity bears 3 points. Let's see how they plan to get it. Manly United with just 1 change after that aforementioned loss to the Wanderers last weekend. Levi Kay starts in goal, a back 4 of Rocco Pella, Aaron O'Driscoll, Alan Aganovich and Matt O'Donoghue. A midfield 3 of Bilal Belkadi, Harry van der Sarg and Darcy Burgess. Lucas Meek and Harry McCarthy are the wingers, behind the lone inclusion Ben Coop. For APIA, they're unchanged. Way fix something that's not broken. A 5-0 win against Mount Druitt last weekend, so Ollie Kalach stays in goal. John Bernalicio, Josh Simmons, Anthony Sparacino and Sean Simmons the back 4. Adrian Uchino, Eddie Casters and Saya Kambiashi the midfield 3, with Stuart, Segreto and Presley Ortiz, another former Manly charge, leading the line. It's been a while since APIA have won here. Have to go back to 2019, 5 visits without a victory. Back in that COVID-affected season, which Corey Bitso got the lone goal in a 1-0 win. And we managed to flip that script. We're expecting more goals tonight, though. These 2 teams have both proven free scoring. Mentioned APIA's attack. It is far and away the best in the competition, solely on the basis of goals. Their defence has been just as leaky. Only the bottom 2, the Central Coast Mariners and Mount Druitt Town Rangers, have conceded more than APIA. The fact that they're in 5th place speaks to the high quality of that attack. And they've turned it over in their own half. You can just see some of the cracks show themselves in the early stages. There's no doubt about the intensity that a lot of the players will be coming here with tonight. Similarly, Manly United will be wanting to get 1 or 2 over some of their old teammates. Bilal Belkadi's managed to make his way into the box. It's a good piece of defending from Joel Bertolicio, who'd made his way over in cover, hands firmly behind his back. In the first quarter of the night goes the host's way. Lively but fruitless game that preceded this one in the 20s, finished 0-0. Chances galore. There was a intensity to the game, which we hope is matched in the first grade game with a couple more goals. As Meek flicks that on, I'm not quite sure how much the APIA defence knew about it. Set pieces have been a problem for them down their defensive end all year. And Manly United might have just had a shot of their own to kick things off. Aaron O'Driscoll and Alan Aganovich both in towards Meek's flick on. Ollie Kalach might have just been breathing a sigh of relief to see that one carry over his crossbar. just as quickly as they can be pegged back up here, they can spring forward in attack. Segretto's touch just letting him down, and Simmons, Josh that is, in the centre of defence. Got a new partner next to him in Anthony Sparacino. Good to see Tembo Muatamalo amongst the crowd tonight. Season-ending ACL injury, so heartbreaking. Tembo will be back before we know it. We're going to have to find a defensive answer without him. Struggling to find it in the early stages of this season. Got a few little combinations at the back. They started the season in a back three. That was, I thought, quickly dismissed by Franco Parisi. It's looked to be another bit of stability in their team, but they still are giving up goals at a higher rate than their coach would like. Josh Simmons has been in a little purple patch of form over the last week or so. I think the last couple of weeks was the hero in the come from behind win against Rockdale Illingdon at Lambert Park a couple of weeks ago. They've won it back in a high area. That's a good ball from Kambiashi for Presley Ortiz. It's in off the shoulder. Less than a year ago, he was wearing Manly United colours, having made a mid-season transfer from St George City. He's gone to another level in his new club. Leading goal scorer with 8 in the league alone. Into double figures when you add his efforts in the cup as well. So Kambiashi, very familiar with the corners around Cromer Park, lifting it high into the air, over the heads of everyone wearing maroon. Driscoll close in attention to Sean Simmons. Here's Kambiashi, he's drifted out to the right. Driving towards goal. This is a grand final teammate of 2022, Ola Naganovic, who's in the way. Seen the flashing feet and the quickness of movement all before. Only getting an upset win. We mentioned quite a good record against APIA at this ground. Ben Coop's going to try and stretch them defensively. Turning Josh Simmons around. Did well to recover. Then had it nicked off him rather softly, it must be said. And that could really hurt Manly because they're springing forward in counter-attack. Presley Ortiz was not too far from getting his boot to that ball ahead of Levi Kay, who was sharply off his line. Had to be. Apia's leaky defence. Manly United's, by contrast, is one of the best in the competition. Henry Marconi leading the competition after 10 rounds. They've conceded less than their 8. Less than a goal a game, which is a tremendous record for that grand final campaign because of Kambiashi's connection. The best team defensively in the competition that season. Ganovic was at the heart of the defence. Jesse Perez was part of that as well. He's back on the bench today after a month or so out with injury. More than a handy addition for Patrick Van Wyk, his versatile fullback. Deployed most often in one of the fullback positions since the takeover of Patrick Van Wyk, but more than capable to lend a hand in midfield. Now with the absence of Jasper Chipman, who's away on a couple of club trials, we're being told, over in Europe. The 17-year-old, of course, can't make the move yet because he's not 18, but birthday's only a little while away. Manly might lose access to him from the new European season. Such is the interest in his services for a 17-year-old. Very, very impressive. Chino, who's seen it all before, playing it in towards Segretto. Once, maybe not that highly thought of, but certainly one they had high hopes for out here, and he's driving towards goal. He's beaten Kay, or did he? Brilliant save from the Manly United goalkeeper. Keeps the scores deadlocked at 0-0. So Greto almost coming back to haunt his junior club as McCarthy tried to knock it over the top. It's very much looking the strategy for Manly United at the moment is to try and get APIA with a taste of their own medicine in transition. A tactical battle beginning to unfold. For those of you who like that sort of thing. Coaches who have come in with very clear plans, trying to outfox each other. Coop getting his head on the ball ahead of Sparacino. Van der Sar, cool as ever. Nice ball from Pella. Now Darcy Burgess, who's been in good scoring form in the last month. Oh, and he squared it for McCarthy. He's got space, just lost his footing at the critical moment. He was trying to return the favour to Burgess. And now Kambiashi could be away. Elkardi's been entrusted almost with the man-marking job as he is so often for Patrick Zwanswijk. Can't prevent that ball in behind. It's a good piece of defending from O'Donoghue. His presence. And Stewart loses his balance. Ball goes behind for a Manly United goal kick. It's APIA who have had the better of the last 5 minutes or so. A cagey opening. Good tempo to this game on Good Friday. You've enjoyed the start to your long weekend. Round 11 of this competition. Beginning to feel like winter. Third of the way into the season. Temperatures are really dropping tonight. Around 20 degrees from the northern beaches. A little bit of mist from the light towers. Elkardi fires that ball up towards them. It's going to end up in the Essex Club on the far side of Cromer Park, the far post, which is very full as it always tends to be for these Manly United home games. It's a Greto, lovely touch. Ball in, didn't quite measure up. Driscoll hoists it clear, and then a sloppy touch from Eddie Caspers. Playing his football not too far from here, in the Northbridge area. In as part of the Bulls Academy system when they took over the top end of that football club. And a happy home here at APIA Leichhardt, one of the first names on Franco Parisi's team sheets at the moment. Talented midfielder, still only 22 years of age, has a couple of goals. Wesley Ortiz, similar, 22. Still players that are looking to take themselves to higher levels in their career. And a club which is a good record of sending players to the A-League over the last couple of years. The most recent, another Manly United product in the form of Ben Gibson. Was prolific for them last season. Now plying his trade with the Newcastle Jets. Ortiz no doubt looking to tread a similar path. So the same of Caspers. Donoghue, the Western Sydney Wanderers system for the past couple of seasons. Sweeping nut there to make sure that Jack Stewart couldn't proceed any further. He's just hit a little bit of a lull 10 or 11 minutes in. APIA with more the possession and the territory. I feel that's not upsetting Manly United too much. They'll be able to try and pounce in counter-attack. Pace they've got with Ben Coop coming in today. This player likes to get in behind defences rather than Tiger Kawanyo, Japanese national, who's starting on the bench today. Coop, the lone striker. You see the ball land at his feet here. Another one of the plenty in Manly United set up with experience in and around A-League clubs. Coop with Sydney FC. This is Harry van der Sarg. Trying to play that for his former academy teammate. Outfoxed there by Sparacino, who's happy to see the ball trickle behind for a goal kick. Topsy-turvy start for APIA Leichhardt, but they've been a little bit more consistent over the last month or so. Just the one loss in their past 8 games across all competitions. 2-1 defeat by Sydney United 58 out at Adenza Park. But other than that, they've been almost faultless. United have become a team who've got a dreadful record against individually, but that explains the results amongst all the good that they've been building. To keep that going here again tonight. Only looking for a bounce back. We talked about a loss to Western Sydney Wanderers a week ago, just as they looked as though they were really building for a strong top 6 push. Have been advantaged, both these teams, by playing 7 of their first 10 games at their home grounds. And that accumulating points during an early period of the season was going to be important. Nice little bit of interplay between Coop and Burgess, but was Manly's new number 10 who got the final touch. Burgess coming across to the Golden Beaches club in the off-season after premiership in 2022 with Sydney Olympic. Player who has established his credentials at this level. He's also part of the double winning sides at Sydney Olympic back in 2018. He was a youngster back then. 26 years of age. Still the last team to do the double. Abbas Saad coached Sydney Olympic team. We have spoken publicly about their aspirations to try and build a campaign that has them going similar places as Ortiz spins inside the area, but hadn't managed to time his run. It's the start of the season where couldn't quite figure out their back line. It's still not one of the strongest in the competition by any stretch of the imagination, but has improved in its consistency over the past month or so. There's a team that's going to test it to the fullest extent. It might well be Manly United this evening. Ground where they have been free scoring at times, certainly recently. Less so early in the season when they played out a couple of consecutive 0-0 draws after an opening day 5-0 thumping of the Central Coast Mariners. But it's APIA who are pushing forward more consistently at the moment. Had the better of the opening quarter hour. One clear-cut chance. Segreto's strike palmed wide by Levi Kay. Athletic piece of goalkeeping. Dancing inside is Segreto. Coop was there to meet him. Noicino up to Josh Simmons, two of APIA's experienced campaigners. Simmons' pass is cut out by Iganovic. Quickly becoming a player of that similar description, despite being just 24 years of age himself. Veteran of that 2022 Grand Final for Manly United. Where's the captain's armband at the club as of this season? Only joined Manly back in 2022. Spending most of his junior career at Blacktown City. Found a home in the northeast and fan favourite around this ground, which there's a central defender's name on the grandstand we're sitting in, bringing you the action from tonight. Club legend Lucas Neal. Sydney that's one of the swankier parts. Defence has always been something associated with their football teams, and Driscoll, as though to demonstrate that point, goes in hard on Jack Stewart, and the ball cleanly. Not one that grew up around this area, Aaron O'Driscoll. Irish national. He's arrived in Australia via the United Kingdom and more recently Christchurch. He's playing New Zealand's National League. And it was down to Victoria with Altona Magic, where his campaign last time out was quashed somewhat by a concussion suffered early in the season. To full fitness for Manly United, who are very, very happy to have picked up the 25-year-old centre-back. Sorry, Van der Sark playing it back for his Irish centre-half O'Driscoll. And now Pella. The many Manly juniors to make their way through this club. Meek. For Burgess. Going to return the ball to Pella. United just struggling to build attacks at the minute. APIA looking the steadier of the two teams. Segredo, lovely turn. Casper's turned straight into O'Driscoll, who just belted the ball clear. Mentioned off the top of the broadcast, it's been a while since APIA Leichhardt have won at this ground. 5 visits without a victory. It's Coop. Plenty of pressure on Ollie Kalach there. Took a deflection off him, but still found Josh Simmons, who, under pressure from that same player, just launches it down the other end. Segredo almost nicked it off Belcardi. And then it's turned over very cheaply by Van der Sarg, of all people. And Miyashi's pass with too much on it for Ortiz, and Janovic using his body smartly. Launched clear of danger by Kay. Going back to a Corey Bitso goal here in 2019. One goal in a 1-0 victory for APIA Leichhardt that night. Line goes long, headed clear by Van der Sarg. Burgess is all down, only found Bertolicio. Again, it's agricultural from Aganovic, but it's proving effective for Manly United, at least in wanting this free-flowing, swathing, swashbuckling attack of APIA Leichhardt. And Segredo takes a rare poor touch. Dr. Pella's asking for a bit more punishment to be brought out. I don't think that was ever going to happen. Clever turn from Van der Sarg, showing us his close ball control. O'Donoghue interchanging passes with McCarthy, was taken well off the ball. It was Jack Stewart getting a foot in there. Striker's tackle. And now APIA tested from the area in which they've had the most problems defensively this season. So it hasn't proved a particularly fruitful route to goal for Manly United, but got the tall timber to do damage. Pella's up, as are Ganovic and O'Driscoll. Meek drifting around the back post. I need to aim for there for Van der Sarg, who lobs it high into the night sky. Ganovic got the initial header. Segredo half clear. Burgess turning on the edge of his area without much support, but striding away from Kambiashi, who is dogged defensively. And Kalach has managed to prevent it from going behind for a corner. Few eyebrows raised when Ollie Kalach was signed by APIA Leichhardt. Still keeping Anthony Bazanis out of the side. They shared the goalkeeping awards last year. One voted for by opposition teams, one voted for by the media team at Football New South Wales. Both of them now. Hasn't helped them defensively, although Kalach has retained the first team jersey for the moment. deflection in the shot of Ortiz, and behind it goes for an APIA Leichhardt corner. To finish that point on Ole Kalats, coached by Father Zelko. Sydney United 58 last year. Had a terrific season. Took that side all the way to the preliminary final. So lost out in against Rockdale Illingdon. Beat APIA on the way to that preliminary final. They're trying to take the Inner West-based club back to a similar situation in 2025. Want to go a couple of steps further. Secreto! Oh, there were a couple of groans in the grandstand because Plenty thought it was in. Just tickled the side netting as it found its way behind. The two best chances of the first half have fallen Jordan Segreto's way. First a lot clearer than that opportunity, and first a very good save from Levi Cade. That one rushing wide of his goal. Manly United need to start building some attacks of their own, but it's all falling down for them in midfield at the minute. Ndiashi made the run in behind. Might have been offside, but Manly have got the throw in any case. Quarter of a way through this game. Still only the one clear-cut chance to Jordan Segreto. Only yet to force Kalats into a meaningful save down the other end. An improvement for Franco Parisi's team. Looking sturdy defensively. It's an attack that has at times blown teams away. And last week looked rather toothless. I do wonder how much the ball-playing ability of Chipman is missed through midfield. Only just 17. He's not the first teenager that Manly United have relied on in that position over the past 3 or 4 years. Finn Ashton and Saxon Hillier preceding him. Seem to churn out talented central midfielders in this part of the world. Taking his time. Manly United just trying to slow the tempo somewhat and try and find their way back into this game. By no means been blown away, but it's fair to say they've been second best. And they build something here through their back line. O'Donoghue's got that sort of quality. Well, he thought he was riding a challenge, but he's turned it over. And Stewart's got green grass to run towards. And now Body's joining him in the middle. Might do it all himself. Lays it off for Segreto. He's got all the time in the world and hits the post. Third time not so lucky for Jordan Segreto, who put it almost in the perfect spot, but just caught maybe a couple of links of paint too much of the post. Had Kay beaten on his near side, so sweetly was it struck. Luck evading APIA as much as anything else in the opening 25 minutes. On a different night, they could be a couple up. Manly trying to get Lucas Meek into this game in their most consistent attacking threat, certainly in a ball-running situation. The opening to this season, and it was quite recently at Inter Miami training with the likes of Lionel Messi in the United States. Another that Manly have signed has come through New Zealand on their way to Australia. Not able to win his side an attacking throw there. And Sean Simmons is just happy to launch it long. Danovic heading it towards the thrower. Segreto showed us that beautiful first touch more than once, but ran into the sack of 3 navy blue shirts. Kambiashi and Kaspers working it out between them. Now Sean Simmons turns it over. There's something for Coop to run for. Does he have support? Or not quite. He was looking to pick out McCarthy in the middle. Retreating smartly towards his own goal was Sean Simmons. And they have another opportunity from a corner. Didn't make enough of them against the Wanderers a week ago. And Matt O'Donoghue be the man to deliver some quality in towards the tall timber. Two inside the 6-yard box on the toes of Kalatz. The rest of the Manly bodies forward, lined across all the area's edge. Meeks flick on was blocked by Stewart. O'Donoghue gets a second bite. O'Driscoll got up. And Pella went down. Aganovich got it out of his feet. But it was a tentative poke towards goal rather than something driven, and it drifts wide. But a first meaningful chance for Manly United, and something for their supporters who have been pretty quiet in the opening stages. Can get rowdy here at Cromer when things are all rolling their way. Hasn't been the case in the opening half hour. Just shy of that. To say, APIA spoken about their attack so frequently, and there are chances developing for them down the flanks, but Wesley Ortiz is on the periphery of this game. So to say, same of Kambiashi, to be honest. A couple of good chances to move down the right-hand side, but the last 10 minutes or so has been largely negated. Manly's defensive plan at home standing up. Only lost the one game at home here this season. It was early against the Sutherland Sharks. And a few draws amongst the rest, but 3 wins here have been by big margins. To sneak one by the odd goal. The 8th home game of 2025. 8th game at Cromer, I should say. That Sydney FC will be listed as an away fixture. Sparacino coming out of his own end, and the touch was enough from Ortiz, although I'm not sure he got quite as much as he wanted, and then O'Driscoll with a very canny gamesman like challenge on Seiya Kambiashi. Sure, plenty of APIA fans would say unsporting, and the referee agreed with that. First booking of the night goes the Irish central defender's way. It's been a way for teams to get forward in the last 15 minutes. It needed a foul to go their way just to flip the momentum. So APIA might be able to set up camp in Manly's half over the last 15 minutes or so of this first half rather. Coop heading forward. Burgess on. Coop with way too much on it. Holds his head in his hands because that was a chance for Manly to get forward down the flanks. Mentioned the APIA players that have been on the periphery. I have to say, Aaron McCarthy's only had the odd touch. Lucas Meek not been in the game as much as the host would probably like. Driscoll's seen quite a bit of it. Pressured by Segreto, flicked on by Van der Sarg. Up but not out from Sparacino. Casper's won the ball on the bounce, but can only nod it over the touchline. See Jimmy Snedden in shot. It's his birthday today, the Manly United assistant. This is the new Manly United CEO, Manly Warringah Football Association CEO, Vicky Halpin. Very happy birthday to both of those two key members of the Manly United club. Steve Snedden lost his position on the edge of the technical area. Patrick Svanswijk's not a big barker. He leaves that down to his assistant. Majority of the game. Similar dynamic between Franco Parisi and his assistant David Deputso. Since he took over the club in 2023, guided them to what was the only piece of silverware on offer in 2023, labelled the championship. No grand final that year. APIA were the best over 30 rounds by some distance that year. Coop couldn't bring it down. Bertolicio stepping in. Finds his former Bulls teammate Eddie Caspers. Lovely switch of play, and Stewart has got space on the right again with O'Donoghue pushed upfield. Can they cover? Oh, it fell behind Kabayashi. A yard in front of him, and you think it might have been nestling in the back of the net. Just missing that final ball at the moment, APIA Leichhardt. Meek rides one challenge, finds Coop. Looking to get it back, and then nicked it off of Chino. Just looking a little flat-footed, the APIA captain there. Oh, and that's a crunching challenge from Josh Simmons. Play on, says the referee, because Manly United have still got it. And Van der Sar can line up. And Josh Simmons is going to go straight into the referee's notebook. That was, well, a challenge without fear or favour. I'd say that much. Wasn't too concerned about what he was collecting as long as he got something. So he joins Aaron O'Driscoll. He's, I have to say, committed a similar challenge 10 minutes or so ago. 2 centre-halves in the book. Just over 10 minutes until the break. Darcy Burgess back on his feet. Managed to see that the experienced APIA centre-half was coming and evade the worst of the challenge. That passage of play sums up Manly United's evening so far. It wasn't too untidy what they put together, but then once they were in space, it was all a little bit aimless. Caspers is allowed to turn. Feed it out to Stewart. As far infield as we've seen him tonight. Overlapping is Bertolicio. Back off for Stewart. Stretching the legs, showing us his pace. Alton, the cross took a deflection. So Kay has to touch it behind. Another chance to throw some bodies forward for the visitors. Just a note on the game played earlier today. It's a good result for both APIA and Manly United fans. Wollongong held to a 2-2 draw down at the Illingdon Sports Centre with Sydney FC. Had to come from behind in that game too. Didn't get the equaliser until stoppage time in the second half. Hoping for a similarly dramatic finish here as Simmons lifts that one in. Fairly easily dealt with, but he'll get a second bite. This one doesn't beat Volcardi on the edge of the box. Further away by Van der Sar. And Manly might have numbers here if they play it right. McCarthy just ducked the wrong way to evade a challenge with Coop running behind him. Meek a little too slow to catch up. Can APIA hit them in transition? O'Donoghue, when he has been back in position, not pushing forward. Stewart's found it tough to get past him. Talked about the tactical battle that would take place tonight. Expecting goals to attacks that can find the back of the net, but I'd like to attack when the ball's been turned over to them. So yeah, a certain amount of outfoxing going on for both coaches. Stewart's square ball was cut out initially, still reached Ortiz. Further wide by Segreto for that beautiful left foot of Sean Simmons, who didn't quite judge the pass. Turn it for his left winger. Say similar of O'Driscoll's ball forwards. Kambayashi, lovely little back heel. Simmons forward down the left, really for the first time tonight. On his side, another attacking throw. Kambayashi in a rush. Nice bit of skill from the APIA Leichhardt left back, who spent so much of his career higher up the pitch. Kambayashi face to face with Meek. Beautiful thread through for Segreto. fires it into O'Driscoll at the near post. Another APIA Leichhardt corner. A reminder to have taken in all the action this weekend. Go and follow NPL New South Wales on Facebook, X and Instagram at NPL NSW. You can find us across all those platforms. And of course, the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Full slate of men's fixtures tomorrow before the women take centre stage on Easter Monday. Kambiashi's ball in! Free header for Ortiz! There's no celebration against his former club, but there's a big smile between two former favourites here who have combined to give APIA the lead. One they've deserved on their dominance of general play and the set pieces that have so plagued them down the other end bear fruit for them in the attacking half in the shadows of half-time. Ortiz not picked up, and it was a bullet of a header once it had reached him. He's still in the chase for the Golden Boot. He's going to take something special to catch Alek Jurasevski this season, who leads the way on 12, but that's 9 for him in the league. His best return in a single league season of senior football, and we're not yet halfway through it. Just deserves for APIA. Got the better of the two teams on Good Friday. Smart piece of defending from Aganovic, but again the question becomes for Manly United, how do we generate chances against a side who are not giving us a lot of space in transition? APIA have locked down their routes to goal so far this evening. They've been punished in kind. But doubly so that it was the combination of two players who used to wear the shirt. No worries for APIA Leichhardt. A good run of form over the last month set to continue. Ground where they've had a shoddy record over the years, but this looks a team brimming of confidence at the moment. Do Manly have an answer straight off the bat? Something we haven't seen from them yet. A little bit of resilience over the course of the season. Brilliant chase back from Stewart. Covered all of 70 yards and gets a big congratulations from Adrian Uchino, who appreciates the effort. This is where the worry has been for APIA though. Van der Sarg over the corner. It'll swing in towards Kalatz. Again, a couple on his toes. Again, the cross doesn't beat the first man. And then McCarthy's turned it over to Ortiz. Battles his way back to retain possession. And then Burgess misplaces things. It's all getting very sloppy from the hosts. And sloppy from Uchino. He's having a characteristically quiet first half. Meek. Well, Sparacino really just held his ground and did more than that on his side the goal kick. Good piece of defending. Used early in the season by Franco Parisi as one of the back three. He's come into the team with the injury to Tembo Muatamalo. And yet to concede a goal with him in there. So perhaps things have just turned a corner in a defensive sense for APIA Leichhardt. Yet to see if they can get 2 consecutive clean sheets. Certainly some of the questions will have been answered. If you can add a sturdy defence of any sort to this attack, it's going to be right up there come the end of the season, but Kalatz is called into action. Coop getting off the shoulder and firing across goal. And the danger's still not clear. Just talking about their defence, can it stand up here? Good challenge from Sean Simmons. Stepping in at the right moment. Wanted the free kick, but the referee wasn't buying what the experienced fullback was selling. Keep a picture of frustration for a chance well saved. Can he get on the end of cross from Van der Sarg? It didn't reach him. Sean Simmons in the way again. Belcardi. And Pella interchanging passes. That was a one from Segreto. Just had to be careful. He couldn't leave a boot in there. Coops certainly did. As Bertolicio was trying to play clear. APIA win a pressure relieving free kick about 40 yards from their own goal. Told you where to find those highlights and all the match reports and round reviews and previews across social media a couple of minutes ago. Under the full slate of games that we've got coming to you on the Football New South Wales YouTube page in just a moment. Simmons' ball is cut out by O'Driscoll, flicked over the top by Van der Sarg. Casper's taken off his toe by Burgess, but it's an APIA throw. Sutherland's kicking off the action at 4 o'clock with a game against St George City. Finally back at Seymour Shore, third of the way into the season. Madrid Town Rangers hosting Blacktown City in what is the nominated match of the round, that Western Sydney derby. Donoghue stretching to clear. APIA trying to add a second before the break. Sean Simmons high boots. Means they won't do that on that time down in Manly's defensive third. Sydney Olympic hosting Northwest Sydney Spirit. That is a cracker at 5 o'clock at Belmore. Two teams that have been high performing this season. So George FC, another great attacking force, taking on Sydney United 58 at Barton Park. Marconi hosting Central Coast Mariners at that same time. The team up the top playing the team down the bottom. Rockdale London hosting Western Sydney Wanderers also at 7 o'clock. Here's Meek. Looking to duck inside, and it was not too far from reaching McCarthy. The touch came from Caspers though. Good piece of defending. Without him, it would have been a big chance for United's number 10. Not to be. I suspect there'll be too much time added on. This has been a game played at a good tempo in its first 45 minutes. Just seeing the signal down there from the fourth official, Thomas Dale. It'll just be a minute added on. So can Manly find something? It's spilled into a dangerous area. Hit Bertolicio rather than him clearing it. And now Belcardi's got defending to do with Ortiz leading the attack up the other end. Escapes the attention of McCarthy. Kambiashi happy to square things up, but that's a good promising ball from Josh Simmons, which has won his side a late corner here.
The official has indicated that there will be at least 1 minute of time added on.
Wesley Ortiz is showing all the attributes of a top quality striker. Not been in the game in general play, but he's got a goal and is running in behind has really caused Manly United issues on the counter. Kambiashi over to deliver another corner. This one's cleared by O'Donoghue and actually travelled behind before even reaching him. Alessandro Lana is the assistant on that far side. So APIA deserving of their leads as we approach the break. Question for Patrick Svansvik is, has he got the players to change the game in the second half? Coco will be called upon at some stage, as will Tiger Kawano. Goal scoring form a couple of weeks ago here. But APIA have been in the ascendancy. It's been due to some strong midfield play from players like Eddie Caspers, from Zaire Kambiashi, from another former Manly player in Jordan Segreto. Was Presley Ortiz, his 9th league goal of the season. A free header, not picked up from a corner after Kambiashi's terrific delivery. Manly United had a good chance in response down the other end, but Ben Coops' half volley was tipped around the post by Oliver Kalatz. Manly's only shot on target of the first half. So they go searching for goals again. They trail at the break here at Cromer Park by a 1-0. Welcome back to Cromer Park, the second half of this Good Friday fixture about to get underway on the Northern Beaches. And it's the visitors, APIA, who have taken the lead just before the break. 38 minutes it took for Presley Ortiz to strike from a Saya Kambiashi corner. Two former Manly players combining to hurt them on their own patch. Can they strike back in the second half? That's the question that we're looking to answer. Can APIA's fantastic goal-scoring form continue? Alex Molchanoff along with you to try and find all the answers in this second half. Second game of round 11 in the NPL New South Wales men's. A 2-2 draw played out earlier today between the Wollongong Wolves and Sydney FC youngsters. This moves Sydney FC well and truly out of the relegation dogfight for the moment. Wollongong sitting right on the edge of the top six, a point behind Manly. They entered the game tonight. It's looking as though that's going to hold. APIA with a win, move up into third place at the start of the weekend. 2 points ahead of Rockdale, who are playing on Saturday night against the Western Sydney Wanderers. United making their way forward. No changes at the break for either team. Manly probably having their best period of the first half in the final 5 minutes or so before the break. We're looking largely toothless before that, and now Jack Stewart is becoming increasingly involved, although, as I say that, he knocks it too far for Joel Bertolizio, overlapping him. He did get a convincing win against Manly United early last season. They played in round 3 at Lambert Park. It was a 4-0 win on that occasion. With Casper's Jack Stewart, now departed Jack Armson, and Jordan Tigretto getting on the score sheet that night, or that afternoon, I should say. It's in a sense the corresponding fixture in 2025. Been a bit too much of that from the hosts in the opening 45 minutes. No doubt about the quality of the players they've got up there, just not finding them consistently enough. And Coop with the lone shot on target for Manly United in the first half that was tipped wide by Ollie Kallatz. Sean Simmons bursting through, and Ortiz just stepping the wrong sides of the offside trap. It's his goal that separates the two teams. Equalled his best return in a first-grade campaign since moving up into the senior ranks with St George City a few years ago. 9 goals, which is the same as he scored across last season with St George City and Manly United. Into double figures in all competitions with the addition of one in the Cup. Leichhardt defeating Nepean 10-0 a couple of weeks ago at Cook Park. The most glamorous of venues around the New South Wales pyramid, but APIA lit it up with their performance. Ben Coop starting up front tonight for Manly United. Got 4 goals in their win over Milton Ulladulla of the South Coast Association. Isaiah Kambiashi got the assist for the first, and he was searching for his partner in crime in Ortiz again. Final touch comes off Ortiz, according to Gobanath, the assistant on the near side. Those draws coming up. Both teams have games to play on Tuesday in the Cup. Manly United hosting Hills United, who have struggled after their relegation from the top tier of New South Wales football 12 months ago. In the lower half of the early season League One table. I'll visit here on Tuesday at 7:30. APIA have got a trip down to Berkeley to take on Wollongong United. Made the national rounds of this competition back in 2022. Will be an interesting watch on Tuesday night as well for the APIA Leichhardt fans that can get down there. Back in league action next weekend at home. It's a big Derby d'Italia on Sunday at Lambert Park. APIA taking on Marconi. Free kick goes Manly United's way. Handle the ball in midfield. In fact, it's APIA's way, sorry. Chino, glad that it was his teams and trying to get the tempo going. APIA would love a second goal to add some insurance. Ortiz with Cambiashi. Can they link up again? Segreto was getting involved. Rocco Pella wanted a goal kick, but it was his intervention that saw the ball ricochet away and not quite reach the toe of Segreto. Not him. His former junior club have been a team he's enjoyed playing against in his couple of seasons with APIA. He got his name on the score sheet for a second time in 3 games. Not to be, yet anyway. Sean Simmons has made his way over from left full back to take this corner from the right. Swinging in towards Levi K. It's a deep one, and Driscoll able to attack it, and so get plenty of purchase on the clearance. Simmons trying to turn it back inside, and now he's linking up with Cambiashi. A chance to shoot, and appeals for a handball. Janovic's arms were down by his side, so I don't think that was ever going to be given. Can Manly get out and transition here? Meek just stepping offside. Mentioned some of the Manly substitutes just before the break that Patrick Swanswijk might turn to. Tiger Kawano, who's been the starter almost on rotation with Ben Coop in the 9 position as the lone striker. Jesse Perez could make his return from injury tonight. It's a good sign for Manly United. And a little bit of depth. Peter Kikaris has looked in better form over the past couple of weeks. Farakoko has 3 goals already in his first 10 appearances for the club. Made most of those appearances off the bench, I think with a few starts, a handful of them. Max Pengelly also available on the bench for Swanswijk tonight. We have plenty of attacking firepower as well. Rory Jordan has actually not seen too much of the pitch so far this season, after being a key in Franco Baresi's sides his first 2 years in charge. Maxim Kisalovic, Alex Denmead's in fine goal scoring form. Got that cup victory, but he's got 4 goals off the bench for APIA Leichhardt already this season, the 20-year-old. Nick Azone and Traden Kelly, the 2 defensively minded options. And APIA just look to see out this game. That hasn't really been their way this season. You can see them bursting forward on attack here. Matt O'Donoghue gave Jack Stewart a couple of metres head start in the foot race. Did well to get back and recover, but he has conceded a corner. APIA have taken short for the first time tonight. Stewart. Cambiashi. Turns the favour for Jack Stewart, who is in a crossing position. Simmons attacking it. Staying down was Spadacino. He didn't really look as though he was anticipating that the ball would reach him. Bounced off him, and fortunately for APIA, back for Eddie Caspers. A couple of sisters playing in the League Women's at the moment, Eddie. One for Sydney FC and one for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Good footballing family. Alicio making his way into the box. Got a second bite. Driscoll with a flick of that long hair. Gets the ball clear. Van der Sark disappeared to the periphery of this game in the second half. And APIA really are having the better of it in the early stages. Josh Simmons lets Manly off slightly with that handball. Cardi turning through the pressure of Cambiashi and Ortiz. Now Meek. His touch is heavy. Manly just can't get out of their own half at the minute. And Ortiz could punish them. Face to face with Aganovic. Lays it off for Jack Stewart. Bending effort that okay diving, but probably comfortable. The ball was passing over his crossbar. And a game that's passed largely without incident since the goal. Ben Coop had a good chance turned wide by Oli Kalats just before half-time. Segreto had one palmed away by Levi Kay inside the opening half hour. Sloppy from Van der Sar. He's just not quite looked at it, particularly in the second half. Segredo. Can't say the same of him. He's laid it on for Kambiashi. Eventually a flag, which took a little while in coming, just making sure that the Japanese midfielder did get onto the edge of the 6-yard box with the football. The technical area is looking a little mellow at the moment. Parisi and Taputo are standing at the moment, but so many words been spoken to their team who are in the ascendancy and got themselves a goal advantage. So in the first half, it hasn't been a dominant display by APIA, but one in which they've looked comfortable. And Manly have only had the odd chance to really build anything up the other end. That's something. In terms of a chance or a sniff, give their fans some hope. Belcardi. Burgess. Keeps the attack going. Playing it wide to Meek. Just swing it in. Pella takes it up. Plays it back for the American. Belcardi. Just trickles in slow motion for Van der Sar. And now returns it to Pella, whose ball is lacking any sort of quality. Flies skew if off the side of his boot and safely over the crossbar of Ollie Kalatz. That will suit APIA just fine. Manly United not able to produce any quality around the edge of the penalty area. The defence has looked up to the task tonight. Oh, Kalatz with a really loose bit of distribution himself, though. Kind of apology. Blasted that ball at Bertolicio on the near side. Both teams just losing a bit of concentration for a moment. Oh, Donahue might well have been done by a different referee for a foul throw there, and then Ortiz just clatters into O'Driscoll. Nothing doing. Coming together rather than a late-footed. You have turned it over from a throw-in of their own. The team wants to keep hold of the football at the moment. McCarthy sticking his foot in to win it. And nicked it off Bertolicio, who took it back. Opening up with Caspers. Can he measure something for someone in Marone? Well, he did. Ortiz mistiming an unorthodox scissor kick to try and move the ball forwards. Simpler skills and the acrobatics not working out for either at the moment. At a moment of quality will either bring this game level or break it apart. It's an easy thing to say as a commentator, but the set of players in the last 5 minutes have quite looked at their best. Here's McCarthy. Could change all that. Oh, beautifully weighted for Meek, who didn't time his run. Offside flag shot up on the far side. About just over half an hour to play on Good Friday. APIA Leichhardt sitting on the goal-to-nil advantage given to them by Presley Ortiz 7 minutes before half-time. Beautifully struck corner from Seiya Kambiashi that caught the Manly United defence on their heels. He might do so again here because he's beaten Aganovic to the football. It's Kambiashi! Doubles APIA's advantage. It's been his night on his return to Cromer. An assist in the first half, and he gets the better of Aganovic to steal in for a second. Again, muted celebrations, but not from the APIA bench, who just wanted that extra bit of insurance. Now they've got it. And this much vaunted attack continues to deliver. 2 more goals on Good Friday, and we've still got just over half an hour to play. And Manly will be so frustrated because they've barely given them a sniff, and then Alan Aganovic misplaying the ball in front of his own 18-yard box, and he's all too aware But you can't do that around Seiya Kambayashi. The pain somewhat self-inflicted by Manly, but APIA good enough to make them pay full price. Josh Simmons turning into a bit of trouble, but APIA's comfort levels can just grow that little bit more now. Had control of the game for the entirety of the hour that we've played. Now Franco Parisi's thinking about substitutes. Can Manly turn on the style? We know that they have it in their locker. O'Donoghue searching for Meek, and it has reached him. Feels for a handball waved away. A committed challenge from Sean Simmons, who was going to make sure that Meek couldn't turn back inside him. And Pella going to ground under the challenge from Segreto. And they will take their time. They've had a number of chances from set pieces, yet to generate a telling chance. So just to rub some salt into the wound. Presley Ortiz making his way from the field. First return to Cromer Park since leaving for APIA in the summer. And he has scored amongst friendly surroundings. A substitution that is looking as though it's going to be the way forward for APIA Leichhardt. 34-year-old captain Adrian Uchino making way for 22-year-old Maxim Kasalovic. I think he is the man to take over the mantle in the middle of APIA's midfield in the long term. Ball was called in towards Aganovic. And, well, it wasn't he that got the final touch, according to referee Carl Davies. In a very heated discussion with both Sean Simmons and Oliver Kalat. Van der Sarg. Has he got that bit of quality? It's deep. It's towards Aganovic. Almost right on the goal line. O'Driscoll. And then Meek belts it into an APIA defender for another Manly corner. Chances piling up from these dead ball situations. Again they go deep. Again Aganovic crashing the pack. Burgess. Technique betraying him. Difficult chance on his less favoured foot. Didn't threaten Oliver Kalatz's nets. Really only had one meaningful save to make from Ben Coop in the dying stages of the first half. Apart from that, his night has been a fairly straightforward one. Which is a nice change because he's been in the action rather more than probably he or his coach would like in the opening couple of months of the season. Salovic's first contribution is to turn the ball over. McCarthy is looking for Coop, who's onside here. Measure across, he might have gone for goal himself, and they picked out Sean Simmons and searching for Lucas Meek. And that was a heavy challenge from Rocco Pella, nowhere near the ball. Josh Simmons was booked for something very similar in the first half, probably not quite as forceful as Cardi's tackle. Certainly in the sort of categorisation of challenges anyway. He's flying in, missing the ball and collecting a lot of the play at. Manly still yet to make a substitution. Trailing this game by 2-0. Bertolicio. Well-timed intervention from O'Donoghue. Salovic does better to retain the ball this time with Caspers. Now he gets it back. Another one of the plenty of Central Coast Mariners Academy graduates on the pitch tonight. One of them, Segreto. Ganovic coming over the top of Stewart. Coop can only duck into the retreating Joel Bertolicio. That brings applause from the APIA fans who are becoming The louder of the two sets of supporters up here in the Lucas Neal stand, certainly. And a voice heard all the way from the far post at times as well. Crowd in for Good Friday evening. Just seem to be sitting around that 800-900 mark for most of the Manly United home games this season. All chipped in behind, but Segreto was well and truly in an offside position. Just joining us, the two goals coming from Presley Ortiz. And they say a Kambiyashi corner before the Japanese midfielder scored himself. Fourth goal of the season. The man who wears number 2. Oh, and that's an awful back pass from Van der Sarg. Hits straight at Kay, and the rebound is blasted over by Caspers. What a save by Levi Kay, who doesn't want the credit. Certainly the ball shot over the crossbar. Might have just been the venom on the strike from Caspers. You won't see a better struck ball all weekend. And Kay has been credited with the save. I'm sure he wanted to be. Or indeed thought he should have been. In any case, that's what the referee saw, and so Sean Simmons is going to have a chance to swing in something dangerous from the corner. Left footer on the right, poking it towards the near post. Back in for Kambiyashi. Simmons. Touch in behind, gets Stewart, fight for it! Oh, it was sloppy defending from Pella, and then he's bailed out by the referee's whistle. Thought that Kay was closer than he was. The Manly United right back. Just been lapses in concentration that have characterised Manly United's performance tonight. Vancouver had the best of their chances in the first half. A good save that all of the Callants did well to keep out. It's been largely anonymous since, and so the duo of Peter Kikaris and Tiger Kawano entrusted with trying to turn the game. Ganovich has really not had his best 10 minutes. His mistake for the goal and a couple of passes just fired out of play. Quite unlike him. It's been another performance from this Manly United team where the players just have looked collectively short of what we know they can do. One of the most bewildering teams in the competition at the moment, capable of going toe-to-toe with the teams at the top. Just looking a little bit lackluster at points as well. See what Harry van der Sar can do when he's engaged in the game, just cutting off that attack, but didn't have any support. And Kambiyashi is allowed to stride away. Bertolicio joining in. It's Joel Bertolicio for APIA. Clever attempt, he just didn't quite execute the idea as he'd imagined it. The Manly hit on the break. Got to move quickly. Kukaris. Meek. Fired into Sparacino, who's had another fine night at the heart of defence. There were real worries for APIA when Temple Moatamalo went down with that ACL injury. It was good to see him in the stands tonight. But, another dreadful giveaway from Maganovich. Not to believe what we're watching. And Kambiyashi could make them pay in full again. He's found Stewart's. They're queuing up APIA. Great piece of recovering defence from Rocco Pella, who bails out his captain. Ganovich, who has anchored one of the best defences in the competition, has just seen his confidence fly out the window in the space of 10 or 15 minutes here. Head to the heavens. His team need him here. Levi Kay's giving some words of encouragement to the team in front of him. He's made his frustrations clear at times during the year with those players in front of him. APIA are just cruising towards 3 points here. 20 minutes to play. They might add a third. Simmons ball in. It's Well, the flag's gone up. It was very close. Darcy Burgess had done a good job of getting back there. I think he thought that he'd kept it in. Not to be. Franco Parisi's just had to unload his free-scoring substitute, Alex Denmead. I've been banging them in for fun this season. The 20-year-old. The Manly United defence who are not looking quite at the races. Kambiashi to deliver another corner. Ganovic, that was more commanding. What Manly are looking for from their skipper. Rory Jordan, who's joined us, slipping that ball in behind for Jordan Segreto, but couldn't reach him.
Substitution for APIA Leichhardt, making his way from the field is number 17, Jordan Segreto. And coming onto the field is number 30, Alex Denmead.
Segreto making his way from the field, another positive return.
And coming onto the field is number
familiar
5,
surrounds.
Drayden Kelly.
And Drayden Kelly is going to give Josh Simmons the last 20 minutes or so off. Another well-earned performance. He is the rock on which APIA's defence is being built this season. It's been a slow build, but it's been slowly improving. Simmons' ability to get forward and affect the game down the other end is a handy little weapon for Franco Parisi. So Kambiashi now going into the central striking role with Caspers, Denmead, and Rory Jordan in behind him. And Sean Simmons won't mind getting forward from left full back when he gets the chance. Jordan in a very dangerous area. This is where he loves to operate. And he fires over. What was it? Fingertip over that was seen by the officials and not felt by Levi Kay a little earlier. Thumping strike from Eddie Caspers on the edge of the box. Would have been the other way around. Certainly Josh Simmons thought so. Keen to stay involved in the game despite just being substituted. Meek wins the header of the substitute Kelly, who did well to recover. For the American contingent on the field tonight, Lucas Meek. Caspers striking that almost as sweetly as he struck his shots a few moments ago. Quite as beneficial situation. So there's 2 cup ties coming up in midweek that we mentioned a little earlier. Manly United hosting Hills here on Tuesday night at 7:30. APIA Leichhardt taking on Wollongong United down at Macedonia Park in Berkeley on the south coast. Also a Tuesday 7:30 kickoff. And it's the Derby d'Italia next Sunday at Lambert Park. Big crowd expected for that one. APIA looking to prove their chops. It's a team we're still expecting to be unbeaten. Currently taking on the bottom of the table, Central Coast Mariners, tomorrow night. Love to end that winning run to start the season. Manly United going away to Sydney Olympic, another team that have shown a bit of a gap between their ceiling and their floor this season. So that will be a game that could go either way on Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock. You'll watch both those league games where you've found this one on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Cup games you'll have to get to in person. Here's Kambiashi. Bertolicio. Can they add a third here, APIA? Probably deserve it for the way they've played in this second half. Stewart ducking inside. Driving past Manly defenders. Oh, it is beautiful to pick out Kambiashi, who was offside. How about the vision to squeeze it through there from Jack Stewart?
Substitution for your Manly United FC.
Well, final treble of changes from Patrick Van Dyke. How much influence they can have.
Also being substituted off is number 23, Darcy Burgess, and coming on the
interesting
field
question.
is number 4, Jesse Perez.
But it's basically their whole attack. Burgess and Rocco Pella, the other two
and coming on the
being
field is number
removed.
14, Max Pengelly.
Coco, Pengeli and Perez all join us. Good to see Jesse Perez back. Hasn't played since back in round 6. A month out, and only very happy to have him back. Hopefully fit enough for a start in a week's time at Belmore. Goes into right fullback, taking the position of Pella. All the substitutions like for like. Donahue just letting Stewart run past him and made enough contact for the referee to blow his whistle. And his body language doesn't look one of a team that feels they can find a way back in. Outcome could betray that, but certainly at the moment it's looking though APIA are more likely to add a third than they are to give us a grandstand finish, as Denmead right along the line but did go out of play, and that might be very, very close to a booking for Alex Denmead. They were showing a bit more urgency. 20-year-old might have found himself having his name taken. Perez going forward, but couldn't beat Sean Simmons. Just tireless, isn't he? Sticks his head in to win another one. Denmead scrapping for it. Kambayashi turning away. The player of the night on his return to Cromer. Jordan. Simmons calling for it in the overlap. Manages to stick it into a dangerous area. Donahue read it all the way. They'll go for Kawano. The substitutes, but the Japanese national can't turn. The off-season signings from Manly United from down in League One with Canterbury Bankstown. One of the teams higher up the table as well, so a good find from Patrick Zwanswijk. As well of those games coming for you tomorrow. Sutherland versus St George City at 5 o'clock. Druidtown taking on Blacktown in the match of the rounds. Big derby in Western Sydney at Popondetta Park, the heart of Sydney's West. 3 kick-offs at 7 that we'll bring you in just a moment. See if Manly United can muster something from this attack to give us a grandstand finish. Get Karras' ball in. Diving header clear. Back in by Pengeli. Got a goal a couple of weeks ago. And now Denmead's off the shoulder. He started his run from inside his own half. He's got no maroon shirts with him, so he's going to have to do it all himself. Bogdanovic and O'Driscoll back. Struck the Irishman and then slid away by Jesse Perez. And Simmons, making his presence felt to help Manly in transition. There was a half inquiry from Patrick Zwanswijk about why a foul wasn't blown, or a yellow card shown, rather. Bites on Van der Sark's crossfield ball, but the clearance is only as far as O'Donoghue. Karras. This is where he made his name in this competition, in these sorts of areas. O'Donoghue with a wild swing, a frustrated strike. Flew high and wide of Karlax's net without ever really threatening it. They say it's a bit of a disconsolate crowd here at Premier Park. The air has really got out of the stadium in the second half. Still seemed like it had a bit of hope, and even the far post is just emptied out a little in the second half. There's still 11 and a half minutes to find 2 goals. Stranger things have happened. Meek and Van der Sarg and Perez. And then a sloppy touch from Coco as he tried to find his way through a couple of APIA defenders. Those 3 7 o'clock kickoffs tomorrow. St George FC hosting Sydney United 58 as APIA struggle to clear their lines. Marconi hosting the Central Coast Mariners, as we've told you. And Rockdale Illendon against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Denmead back towards his own goal. Manly at least have got the ball in an attacking area. Now they need to show some cutting edge, and Bogdanovic not feeling he had Any real options in front of him. Back to Kay. Only show a bit of urgency. Not really. Almost telegraphed his way in field, and Bertolicio fairly easily cut it out. Just to scrap it back forward with Karras. Well, Kawano's managed to keep this in. Good piece of keeping from Kalatz with Coco under his nose. Made sure it wasn't going to beat him in his near post, and safe piece of handling. The 23-year-old goalkeeper. Nice turn from Caspers, who's had a really good night tonight for APIA. And a heartbeat for them through the middle. And Stewart trying to catch Levi Kay out. It's a good save from the Manly United gloveman. Kambiashi on the follow-up. Flashes it wide. Couldn't add to his tally. He's fired a few shots away. That's his old teammate Levi Kay this evening. Was able to beat him on that occasion. Nicazone is about to join the fray late. No personal glory for Jack Stewart tonight, but a terrific display down the right-hand side. He's found full form. After an up-and-down 2024, one of the players of 2023 in APIA's premiership campaign. Gets a big hug from Adrian Uchino, appreciating the effort. Kelly winning the ball in the air. Sliding to challenge was Kasalovic. Turning O'Donoghue. Now Meek, and Coco is wide. Blue shirts to aim for, but Farah Coco is, well, not been his finest introduction. He's been very good off the bench for them this season. New signing from the Wanderers Academy team. Opportunities to really get at the APIA backline in the last 5 minutes. Not quite been able to do so. Does this ball fall for him? Got a bit of luck. Kawano's touch, far too heavy. I mentioned this strange circumstance surrounding the attack of the Manly United team. One of the highest scoring in the competition, 19 goals through their opening 11 games. 11 of those 19 coming in 3 games here. It's the Central Coast Mariners, Mount Druitt Town Rangers and Wollongong Wolves, who they beat 6-0 in their last game at home. But between those matches, this is going to be the 4th time they've been held scoreless at home this season. It's topsy-turvy stuff. Can try and make inroads into that statistic. It was a positive piece of running, but the defending from Sparacino was right up to the level. He receives another hand on what's been a fine night for him in the heart of APIA's defence. Looking an improved player at the age of 24. After bided his time at this club, sitting behind some quality players in front of him, but when called upon, been up to the task in 2025. All except Denmead behind the ball now for APIA. Why wouldn't they be? 6.5 minutes to play. A little body check off the ball, and Sean Simmons must be walking a rather fine line. It's quite a few times that he's blocked off Manly United players down that flank. This will be one part of the game that Patrick Vanswijk will be so frustrated with tonight. They've not had any sort of quality from these dead ball situations. Can O'Donoghue provide some? He finally does. It almost found Aganovic. Kelly did enough. And now Kambiashi can spring clear with the pace of Denmead. It's 2-on-1. Alex Denmead striding towards goal, and Farah Coco diligent defensively. Not his most natural position, but his pace and his ability to read the game got him out of trouble, saved his side a third. And now, the referee, Carl Davies, is stopping the game because Drayden Kelly had stayed down. And the frustration from Manly is that APIA were quite happy to continue attacking. Play was only stopped once the ball was turned over in their favour. Kelly's back on his feet and not looking as though he required treatment, although he's reaching towards his face as though he's copped a bit of a whack. It's going to be a drop ball, so he's going to have to make his way over to the near side now. Finally, play can restart. The precious seconds eaten off the clock for APIA. I call them precious. Doesn't look particularly so this evening. O'Driscoll striding out from the back. That's ball only picked out Kelly. He took the safe option. Just turned it behind for a Manly United corner. Statistic really totting up now. Well into double figures tonight. But Donahue again entrusted to take it. Attacking it was Pires. So brave putting his head in there. Kikeris scrapping with Denmead, but the youngster got the better of him. And Kelly, who has looked very cool in his defensive work since coming on. Lost nothing with him there. Simmons clearing his lines. Pires heading it back towards Manly's attacking half. So it's been close to Eddie Casper's best performance of the season tonight. Been everywhere and rarely given it away. Just playing out the clock now, APIA. Knowing this result is about to lift them up into third spot. That's closer to where they thought they'd be competing this season. The ups and downs of the early couple of months slowly being ironed out by Franco Parisi. Showed an assurity in their play tonight that hasn't quite been apparent. Manly could learn something. Ganovich slide into recover his own touch. Managed to get there in the nick of time. But Donahue's header is only as far as Casper's, and then Jordan's ball flicked up and handled by Max Pengelly. The youngster concedes the free kick. 21-year-old is Polaroid Chroma Strikers Jr. Hardly thought of the Manly United community. Got his first senior goal a couple of weeks ago. 1-1 draw at Blacktown. Azone hesitating. Doesn't find himself in that area of the pitch too often, Nick Azone. And Meek again is straight offside. It's been sloppy up there from Manly's front players tonight. Flagged far too often for a team trying to play in transition. APIA have had their measure. Kelly. Azone held his run. He did well. Found Kabayashi. He'd love to add a second or an assist. Jordan darting between players and a very good save from Kay. He's done his reputation no harm tonight. And a team that have not been to his level in front of him. Turned over again by Kawano. Toko tracking back, and that's been the best part of his game since coming on. It's the stuff he's been able to do down that end of the pitch. Jordan, full of energy and scrapping to win it back off Tiger Kawano. Caspers. After giving him such a rap, just a little moment, not enough to blemish what has been a complete display through the centre of the park tonight. And Gelly and Ganovich. He needs to rediscover his form. He's been below par tonight, the Manly United skipper. Not been the only one on the host side of the ball. Kasalovic. Kambiashi. Turning it under for D'Alessio, who's got space to run into. Donohue's out of breath. Trying to track back. He's got through a lot of work down this left flank. Jordan switches it out. Sean Simmons is still full of running. His ball in, lacking the quality. Donohue, Kay's call is to keep it in, and so he obliges. Terrace is not looking for it. Scrap with Azone, and Kawano is offside. Deflating night for Manly United, it has to be said. Evening on Good Friday, where they really had the chance to seize the initiative and show that they were a team serious about a top six tilt. Had the air taken out of them somewhat of their performances in the last 2 weeks. Kakaris for O'Donoghue, a playing group that know they're capable of more. Probably the most frustrating thing for their supporters. Indeed, the playing group themselves. Driscoll wanted a whistle, but I don't think it was ever coming. Now we are here to play the 4 minutes. Questions for Manly United, none so for APIA. So that record goal scoring rate's just going to take a slight hit, only 2 tonight. The season average of just over 3. It's going to bring them back a bit closer to their own record goals haul in that 2023 Premiership winning season when they got to 78. This side is capable of catching that mark and going a fair way past it. Had the same glut of chances tonight, but they've been deadly when they have been presented. Kambiashi's been at the heart of everything good. Azone, can he add his name as an unlikely scorer? Jordan stretching, couldn't steer the ball towards the target. Okay, we'll take his time. Got a good right boost on him, but him swinging it up that end of the pitch is not going to be enough. Donoghue. Perez. Going to show his wares going forward. Couldn't pick out Kawano. Again, Sparacino was very well positioned. Time almost out for the hosts. Simmons turning back towards his own byline. Kikoko force something late. He's nicked it off him. Spinning towards the byline. There's a chance for Meek. Drayden Kelly effected it and did get a deflection. So another late set piece for Manly United. Good fight shown by Farakoko. It's grown into this short appearance off the bench. Well, they've taken it short here, Manly. Trying to catch up, you're out. Do it all again. They don't really have time to. Trailing by 2-0. O'Donoghue again. And this one's not it in. You feel it's too little too late, but Jesse Perez, as if to emphasise what Manly have been missing in his absence, gets the goal on his return from injury. Not the most likely of scorers. Manly avoid being held to nil again at home. It makes you wonder what might have been had they been able to produce that quality from set pieces more often through the night. APIA perhaps resting on their laurels a little. Why wouldn't they, given the pattern of the game? And then diving in was Kasalovic. Suddenly there's hope back in Cromer Park. And Carl Davies is going to give them one more chance. It would take close to a miracle. We've seen sillier finishes in this competition, but this would be right up there with one of the most dramatic, and APIA would be kicking themselves. Van der Sarg. Driscoll floats it in, lobbed up by Pengelly, and that is that. So APIA survive a very, very late scare. Jesse Perez's answer came with less than a minute remaining in stoppage time. APIA had looked comfortable for the majority of the 90 minutes. They got the breakthrough just before half-time. Presley Ortiz, the former Manly United striker, heading home from another former Manly player, Saya Kambiashi's cross. And when Alan Aganovic slipped in the second half, Kambiashi was there to pounce. His fourth goal of the year meant that APIA have lifted themselves up to third place at the end of the night. Rockdale and Blacktown both with a chance to answer tomorrow. But it's the visitors who take their first win here since 2019. Manly United head back to the drawing board. Alex Molchanoff signing off from the Northern Beaches. It's been a very good Friday for you. The final score from Cromer is Manly United 1, APIA Leichhardt 2.
Good on you.